Cash flow is always the lifeblood of any business. It's more important than sales and profit. There's the old saying, cash is king. Well, when the economy shows signs of a potential slowdown, cash becomes even more important. Now, here are my top 3 tips for managing your cash flow smartly while dealing with uncertain circumstances. So, tip number 1, stop spending on luxuries. Now, I want to be clear about what's a luxury and what's not. Luxuries are fewer lunches. Don't buy as many office supplies. Don't buy extra coffee, a couple fewer trips to Starbucks or whatever. So don't spend on the luxuries, but don't stop spending on things that aren't a luxury. So things that are truly just an expense, cut back on those. Now, there's some things that fall into the expense category on a profit and loss and are technically an expense, but they're also investments. So marketing. Do not just arbitrarily cut back on your marketing. You want to evaluate your marketing, and any marketing that's not working and you've got data to show it's not working, you're not getting a good return on your investment, either need to figure out how to make it work or cut back on that. But overall, this is not the time to just cut your marketing. If you watch my other video on thriving in uncertain times, marketing becomes really important during this time. So make sure that you are cutting smartly and not just blanket. So other things, your consultants, your coaches, your financial advisors, those are all investments. And if you're not treating them like investments, you're losing out on a big opportunity. So we want to cut things that are just purely expenses, overhead, that are discretionary, but not the non-discretionary investment type expenses like our team, like our marketing, like our coaches and other advisors. So tip number 2, delay large expenditures. Unless you're in an industry that is growing wildly and you're way under capacity and you're losing business because of it, slow down the big expenses. Can you hold off on buying that new truck? Can you go without that piece of equipment? Do you really need to buy everybody new laptops this month? So look at those big capital expenditures. And even though you may have the cash for them, we want to conserve cash. We don't want to spend it unnecessarily. So let's stretch that cash out a little bit. Can we wait another time? Sometimes there are bargains and it's just too good to turn up, but really think about how much cash is that going to drain? Now, if you do make a large expenditure, whenever possible, finance it. Don't pay off big debts. So if you're sitting on a lot of cash reserves, stay sitting on cash reserves. Don't be tempted to pay down a loan at this point in time. It doesn't make sense, because if you pay down that loan and then things really do turn into a slowdown, you might not be able to get that cash back. So you want to conserve that cash. So no paying off loans, no paying down debt. Just make minimum payments for a while, and let's watch and see what happens with the economy. And if everything's fine, then we can go ahead and do those expenditures, do the debt reductions. But right now, keep your cash. I don't want to say hoard your cash, but hoard your cash. And then the third tip is go ahead and look at your payment terms for your clients and make sure you are getting paid quickly, and remind people for receivables. Get more proactive on receivables. If you're on 30 days, at 20 days, send them a reminder that it's due in 10 days. On day 27, send them a reminder it's due in 3 days. On day 30, send them a reminder it's past due. Have it be somebody's job to look at receivables all the time. On the other side, before receivables, invoices. Invoice as fast as possible. The quicker you invoice, the quicker you get paid. So if you need to invoice twice a week, invoice twice a week, but get your invoices out as promptly as possible, as accurately as possible, and tighten up your terms. Do not become your client's bank. On the payable side, if you have some vendors that you have good relationships with and you anticipate a challenge, go ahead and talk to them about maybe extending payment terms. Can they lower the buying minimums? Can their minimum buy be smaller for a while? Talk to your vendor, see what you can negotiate in terms of payment terms or minimum buys, the minimum order size, and see what you can come up with, because you want to manage your cash. You want to have as much cash on hand as you possibly can, just in case there's a need for it. Now's the time to start thinking about that. And if we get to the other side of it and everything was okay, then great. We pay everybody off. We go ahead and we get settled up and we're fine. But cash is king and you need to treat it that way. But remember, no cutting investments, only cut the expenses. The investments, we just need to look at the return on investment and make sure we keep investing in the ones that are giving us a great ROI and rethink the ones that are not. So if you're wondering what to do with cash and you're not sure about the economy, it's just remember cash is king and treat it smartly and wisely. Now, if you'd like to chat about your cash situation and brainstorm a little bit on some ideas for you and your business, because everybody's a little different, I'll be happy to do that. Just go ahead and click on the link in the description and go ahead and schedule a 20-minute call. We'll do a call and we'll talk about your cash situation and brainstorm ideas that are very specific to you and your business and your industry. Thanks.